guys, it's Brenda and Kit. Guess what? We miss your faces. We miss everybody's faces. But we have one more chance that we have to connect with people. And that's through our work with Faith in Action Alabama, the Jefferson County Hub, and First Presbyterian Team. Kit and I signed up to help Faith in Action in Alabama with this campaign. It's a campaign that targets infrequent and unregistered voters, particularly African American or Latinx voters with incomes under $50,000, and our efforts are to help them vote and know how to vote, answer their questions. We get a chance to see each other once a month while we do this. First Presbyterian has a team that consists of Ashley Green, who is our leader, Camille and David Bryson, Mary Porter, Lynn Callahan, Amy Nyman, Patty Winter, Sherry Nielsen, Cherith Parrish, Kelly Pierce, Scott Pierce, and Carol Schumack. Hey Kit, why did you sign up?
Well, I worked in previous elections, and I know you did too, Brenda, to do phone banking and canvassing for candidates we supported, like Jim Toomey and Doug Jones. And so when I saw this opportunity advertised in the church newsletter, I knew I wanted to help out, and I called Ashley and volunteered. Brenda, tell us how our team meets.
Well, we meet virtually. We have a Zoom meeting where we sign in, get our numbers for the van calling list. We gather once a month for 3 hours, if we can make it that long. We're given a number to log into VAN, and VAN is a network where we can reach people who have voted in the past, who VAN knows who votes, but not how you vote. And that's where we get the numbers from. Hey, Kit, how often do we phone bank?
Well, so far we've been doing it once a month, our team. Some teams do it more than once a month, but we have been calling so far on August 11th and September 10th, and we have another session coming up on October 13th. And as Brenda said, they're 3-hour sessions, and they run from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. Brenda, this was something I was wondering about before we started, so maybe folks would like to know if people can see your phone number when you're calling them, because we are using our own phones.
Yeah, we do use our own phones, and that's one of the options that we have, either to hide our number by doing *67 or let people see our numbers. I guess I don't hide my phone personally because I found that people are much more willing to answer a phone number that doesn't say blocked. I had experience calling with Jim's and campaign, and I think these options are doing a lot better.
Well, in the beginning, I was doing the same thing, and I was even leaving voicemails. But then I started getting callbacks from the people while I was making calls, and one of the women I spoke to wanted to give me her information, and I realized I couldn't pull her name up through VAN, which is Voter Activation Network. And so I stopped calling, and I went to our director of the program and asked her about it, and she said, just don't leave voicemails and block your calls. Block your caller ID. So I did that for the rest of that session. More later.
I've actually had people that have called me back as well because I don't block my number, although I don't leave messages. And usually they're pretty interested and willing to listen. And I tell them that I can't change the information that I put into the phone banking record, but that someone else would call them and they could answer in that way. Hey Kit, how do you know what to say when you make those calls?
Well, we're given a basic script, and it is beginning a nice little greeting and introduction, and then 5 questions that we ask, Will you be voting on November 3rd for the general election? Are you registered to vote at your current address? Are you sure you're registered at your current address? Will you be voting in person or by absentee ballot? Have you or someone you know been negatively impacted by COVID-19? And have you or someone you know lost their voting rights due to past convictions? And then we just enter the answers electronically as they answer them. The script also provides suggested responses and follow-up questions too.
I found that when I answered that last question about do you or anyone you know have any past felonies that might prevent you from voting, I explained to them then that Greater Birmingham Ministries has a program to help people get their voting rights back, and I think that that's important for people to know.
Right. Well, Brenda, can you see everybody in the Zoom group while you're calling, and can they see you and hear you?
Well, one of the things you do when you get your number and plug in is you mute your microphone on Zoom so that they can't hear what you're saying. It would be wild if everybody could hear everyone's calls. But usually I can't even see the Zoom meeting itself because I'm on the page that has the script and the numbers and the places to enter their answers. So I can go back to the Zoom meeting if I need verification. I checked to make sure people were still calling because I gave up after 2 hours, I'm embarrassed to say.
Well, I knew I was going to have trouble sitting still for 3 hours and being appropriate while on camera. So I just did decide that I would turn off my video as well as my sound while I was making calls. Also, I'm very distractible, especially visually, and I was afraid if I got up and moved around, I would also be distracting to other callers. But I did go back in and turn it on when I needed help, like you said.
Hey Kit, tell us what kind of responses you got.
Well, I got mostly voicemails and hang-ups, pretty much the majority of my calls. But of the people that I spoke with, I found them to be very receptive, very grateful, often really needing help and advice. I was able to give them phone numbers and other information to help them get registered or help someone in their family get registered. So I was glad about that.
I found the same thing to be true. Most of the people I spoke with started out a little wary because they didn't know who I was. But by the end of the conversation, you could tell they were smiling and I was smiling as well.
Yeah. Brenda, about how many calls did you make and how many people did you actually speak to?
Well, I didn't realize at the time, and not tech savvy enough, that when I got out of van, it would have told me how many people I actually called and how many people I contacted. But I did keep a running tick of the people that I did reach, and I think I reached a little over 30 people, but probably made over 100 phone calls.
And I only made 96 calls, probably because I was walking around a lot. And according to my records, because I was ticking it off, I only reached 10 people. So I think that proves your theory, Brenda, that it's better to leave your caller ID on because people will often answer more likely, and I know I do, if I can see someone's calling me.
Right.
See who it is.
Me too. Hey Kit, what did you learn, if anything, making these phone calls?
Well, I think my biggest takeaway is that people really are interested and need help. They're hungry for information. Even though there are plenty of folks who don't want to talk, and I understand that because I'm not really good about answering the phone if I don't recognize the number. I did find that the ones who I did speak to really appreciated it, were really grateful. And as I said before, I stopped blocking my number. I left some voicemails. And even a week later, I got a call back from a woman who wanted information about how to get her husband registered because he had been out of state and had come back. And I was able to help her, and I just can't tell you how much that blessed me. It just really warmed my heart that I could help in that way, and that's why I want to, I mean, that really motivates me to want to keep on figuring out ways to help people be able to get to vote.
And I think I learned that it's not as scary as it appeared to be. It was easier than I thought it would be. And I think I had a better return on calls than I did during Jim's campaign. And I'm not sure why that is. Perhaps it's the demographics that they chose. We also want to let you know, if you're interested in joining our team, contact Ashley Green. You can get her number from the church office through the directory, or you can message me or Kit and we'll give you her information. Thank you, Ashley, for asking us. Thank you, Kit, for helping me with this.
Thank you,
And
Brenda.
thank you, Mr. Cameraman, for doing the
Yes,
work.
Jim Toomey, excellent camera work.